Hello, my dear students. It's nice to see you again. Today, we have a lesson. It's a fantastic and wonderful lesson. Do you know what's it about? Let's see together. Now, the lesson about... My dear students, what about the modern theory of the world? This is about Alfred Hall theory. This has happened in 1944. This is also tell us the formation of the life of the earth. Let's fly and see it together. Ready? The life in the past, it's deep and dangerous. From the scientific hypothesis about the origin of the life may be divided into a number of categories. Many approaches investigating how self-replacement molecule or their component seem into existence. For example, the Miller-Urey experiment and the similar experiment demonstrate that most amino acids often called the building block of the life. Now, we need to live on this in the earth because we like this life. It's our planet. We like it, I'm sure. Several mechanisms have been investigated, including lighting and radiation. And the other approaches, metabolism, first hypothesis, focused on the understanding how catalyzed the chemical chemistry in the early Earth might having provided the molecule necessary for the life. My dear, the extraction process by which 1 kilometer the plant cells grow into 1,000 kilometer size buds is well understood now. This process developed inside the many disks where the number and the density of the life of the earth to tell us the story about the earth. It's a wonderful story. Grows later, slows, and continue algebraic acceleration, the end result of the formation planetary imperiods of the very sized, which depending on the distance from the star. Variation stimulation have demonstrated the merger of the embryoes of the inner part of the protoplanetary disk leads to formation of the few Earth-sized bodies. Thus, the origin of the terrestrial planet is now considered to be the almost solved problem. Also, we have a difficult problem, the life on the Earth. Do you think what this problem about? Let's see. The physics think that the first problem explanation suggestion Hans Alaa was that angular momentum. Also, we know that all of them try to solve what happened for the angular momentum was that shed by the solar wind during T-theory phase. My dear, the momentum is appropriately transmitted by the outer part of the disk, but now it's possible to this process for shedding the angular momentum is a magnetic brake. My dear, with the spin the star is transferred into surrounding disk via the star's magnetic field, the process responsible for the disappearance of the disk are also poorly known. The formation of the earth depending on many things, depending on the universe and what happened in this universe, motion of the planets, motion of the stars, motion of the universe. You be sure scientific hypothesis about that of the life may be divided into the number of categories, and we know that well. No new notable researching of the theory of that. O'Brien reasoned that atmosphere of the oxygen prevents synthesis of the certain organic compound that are necessary for the building blocks for evolution of the life, his the origin life. O'Brien proposed that the spontaneous of the general life that had been attacked by Louis Pasteur did in fact occur once, but was now impossible because the condition found on the early Earth had changed. My dear, the pre-exciting the organisms would immediately consumed of what? Spontaneous generated organism. Spine urged that permeable soup of the organic molecules could be created in an oxygenless atmosphere. This is occurred as you see. The life start. The life, this is not the end of this life, sure. This would combine the ever more complex ways until they are the formed of co-created of the droplets. These droplets would grow and grow and grow by fusion. Yes, with the other droplets and reproducing through fission. It means this fission breaking down these rocks, breaking down the formation of the clouds as you see, the water as you see, the life as you see, into daughter droplets, and so have a primitive metabolism in which those factors which promote cell integrity survive, and so that don't become extinct. Many modern theories of the origin of the life on the earth illustrating this point and beginning from this point. Around the same time, G.P.S. Halden suggested that the Earth's periodic oceans different from the modern constructed would have formed a hot diluted soup in which organic compound could have formed. Yes, by G.D. Brunel, a pioneer in X-ray crystallographic, called this the idea by possible or biosynthesis, the process of the living matter evolving from self-replacement. But non-living molecules, and proposed that by processes that passes through a number of intermediate stage. This is in 1952. In the Miller-Urey experiment, a mixture of the water, hydrogen, methane, ammonia, or different gases was cycled through apparatus that delivered electrical spark to the mixture after 1 week. It was found about 10% to 15% of the carbon in the system was now in the form of resin of the mixture of the organic compound, including, what do you think? Any organic compound, including ammonia. Not any ammonia, it's ammonia acid, which are building blocks of protein. And we said that before. Don't forget, ammonia build our protein. To understand the hypothesis held by the O'Brien, Haldean, Brilliance, Miller, and Urey wrote that condition on the plate of the Earth favored the chemical reaction. That is the science's organic compound. Artificial compound formed again by inorganic. A recent reanalysis of the saved virus containing the organic and original structure that resulted from the Miller. This experiment is very important, using the current and more evidence and analytic equipments and the technology has uncovered more biochemical. This biochemical tell about how can these organs are formed. Originally discovered this is 1950. Great, my dear. One of the more important for us for discovering that finding was 23 amino acid. This amino acid tell us what happened and how can the life in the past, how can the life be formed. Stars move, stars exploded during this motion. This exploded during the increasing of the heat. The heat increase due to the fraction. So it formed pieces. These pieces, it has everything greater than 23 amino acid, far more than the 5 originally discovered. My dear, What about the spontaneous generation of the certain form of the life from the living organisms in the earth? Goes back to the ancient philosophers. Yes, in 19th century, this bird was believed that heterogeneous, that one form life derived from the different forms. Classical notion of a spontaneous generation, which can be considered under the modern term or abiogenesis, held that the certain complex living organisms are generated by decaying organic substance. Yes, this organic substance decayed according to some philosophers tell us that Aristotle. It was readily observable rather that aphids arise from a dew which fall on planets, flies from buttered bottom of the bodies of the water, and so on and so on, and forming the life. This has happened in 19th century. But in 1665 published the first drawing of the microorganisms, Hook. Yes, this is the scientist tell us that. Hook was followed this in 1676 by Anthony Van, who drew and described microorganisms that are now thought to have been protozoa. Yes, and the bacteria. Many left extents of the microorganisms were evidence in the supporting spontaneous generation. Since microorganisms seemed too simplistic for sexual reproduction, this is not only also a sexual reproduction through cell division had not yet been observed. By the Van issued that the idea common at the time that flesh or less could is potentially resulting from putrefaction, and the frogs could likewise arise from slime. It's great to know what happened in the past, what happened in our life, what happened in my fantastic earth. My dear, what about the first experimental evidence against spontaneous generation came in 1968 when Francois Redl showed that no moguls appeared in meat when the flies were prevented from laying eggs. It was gradually shown that at the least in the case of the higher and readily visible organisms, the previous certain time regarding spontaneous generation was false. All of them false? Yes, because we have some problems in our theory. Not all theories are right, but most of them. Don't forget, in 1768, Lazaro demonstrated that the microorganisms were presented in the air and could be liked by boiling in 1861. Louis Pasteur preferred a series of the experiments that demonstrate that the organisms such as bacteria, fungi, don't spontaneously appear in sterile nitrogens-rich media, but only inhale them from outside. My dear, this is the life on the earth. Do you think this is all? I don't think so. The natural evolution of the earth and sun made it progressively more luminous during the Archean and Proterozoic eons. The sun's luminosity increased 6% every billion years. As a result, the earth began to receive more heat from the sun. So, Proteins, the eons. However, the earth didn't get warmer, and instead the digital test recording seemed to be just that. It called, my dear, during the early protozoa found in South Africa date back to what? To 2.2 Ga. It means at the which is the time base of the plumogenic evidence. They must have been located near the equator. Thus, this glaciation known as Micagenia. My dear, may I have been a global? Yes, this global make the bacteria grow. So this is happening in equator. Some scientists suggest that this and the falling protozoa ice eggs were so severe that the planet was totally frozen over from poles to the equator. Yes, the ice covered the earth from North Pole, South Pole to the center. It means the equator. So the heat is not completely now. The heat covered the earth or covered the world. But my question, what happened after that? They thought that there is an atmosphere which the number of the oxygen and the amount of oxygen increase and they become very ready to appear for the life. Modern taxonomy classified life into 3 domains. The time of the origin of this domain uncertain. The bacteria domain probably the first split. My dear, to explain all of them, we need to know what happened in our life. There are many scientific and philosophical theory about the evolution of solar system. From this theory, it's a modern theory. The modern theory tell what happened in our life. This modern theory by Alfred tell us a lot of the planets, a lot of stars are formed. But you think formed from where? I think nebula told us that. Now, what about around the time? Look, my dear, in the proto-mitochondria was formed a bacteria, cell related to today, which had evolved to metabolism oxygen. The oxygen entered the large proto-life cell, which lacked that. This cell may have child protozoa or parasites. These parasites larger one. In any case, the smaller cell survived inside the larger cell using oxygen. It metabolized the larger cell wasted product and derived more energy. My dear, the part of this exercise or expense of the energy was returned to be host. The smaller cell replaced inside the large one. Soon, a stable symbiosis developed between the large cell and smaller cell inside, yes, our lovely planet, inside the Earth. Over time, the host cells acquired some of the genes of the smaller cell, and the two kinds became dependent on each other. The larger cell could not survive without the energy producing by the smaller one, and this is turn couldn't survive without the ray-wide material provided by the larger cell. The all cell is now considered signal organisms. We need to live in our planet. Help us to do that. My dear, a similar event has occurred with photosynthesis. Yeah, photosynthesis is very important for entering large amount of heterotrophic cells and becoming chloroplasts. Probably as a result of these changes of the lion cell capable of the photosynthesis split off from the other eukaryotes more than 1 billion years ago. Now, the life is formed. There is bacteria. What we need also, we need Yes, DNA. A lot of scientists try to discover the formation and the structure of DNA during their researches. Do you think they arrived to it? I think, yeah. Our researches about bacteria and eukaryotes continued developed and become more complex and better adapted to their environment. Each domain repeatedly split into multiple lineages, although little is known about the history of archaea and bacteria around 1.1 giga. Yes, the supercontinuous rodent was a sample that the plant, animal, and fungi line had split through. They still exist as solitary cell. Some of these lived in colonies. Yes, colony and gradually division of lipo began to take a place and take a certain place. For instance, the difference in the length of the day and the year from the planet to another. Do you think there is difference for the length? Yes. The length for the difference for the day, it means the rotation of the planet around itself. When the planet rotates around itself, this means you are in the day. What happens if the planet rotates around the sun? This it means the year. My dear, year it means it's a period taken by the planet to make one complete rotation around the sun. Do you think, what about the factors? The first factors that affect for the year, distance between planet and the sun. Also, the speed of the rotation of the planet around the sun. And the other factor that affect for the rotation of the planet around itself, this factors, it means the speed of the planet, yes, around itself. My dear, don't forget, length of day, length of year, back to the rotation. What about to fly to the other one? Now it's life, iron, self-loving bacteria, alkaline-loving bacteria, sulfur-loving bacteria. This is acid-loving bacteria, thermophiles, extrophiles bacteria. This is tell us it's a heat shock protein. This it means the life is now, because the protein form endospores. As you see, this is the structure for the endospores, also microspores, and the gross life for the life on the earth. Don't forget X prime materials, microscopic spores. This is the formation of the potassium crystalline, which tell us about the mountain on the earth's life. Motion of the bacteria and reproduction of it tell us how can the life in the past till now. Are you ready to live now? Yes, my dear. This is from 250 millions of years. It's homework. For the question number 1, give reason. Look, my dear, bombarding of the nucleus of the exploding the star away from the gravity of the sun in the modern theory of the solar system. Do you think why? Find by yourself. Another question, the difference in the length of the year from the planet to another. I think you can catch the answer. Easy to do that. Third, the difference in the length of the day and night. Question, define. I think the definition is very important. Catch it, my dear. For the first, light year. Don't forget to find the definition for the light year, and don't forget the number. I hear a lot of students find the number. Another one, galaxy. Yes, I am sure you understand the galaxy and you know their types. Solar system. Catch it, give the answer, give the question, give the examples. Don't forget, I am waiting you for the example, my dear. Number 4, stars by the same method. Last one, solar day. I'm waiting you for this lovely solar day. Also, the year. My dear students, I am waiting you for the science_3rd_prep@yahoo.com. Also in YouTube Science channel, don't forget www.facebook.com/science.3rd_prep. Come soon. We arrived to the end. Do you think you understand the lesson? I think so. I hope to see you soon. Thank you and goodbye.